The Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs has warned that Canada's trade war with Donald Trump could cost Canadian fire departments billions, threatening access to critical equipment. We sat down with the CAFC president, Ken McMullen, to discuss how cost hikes could leave fire departments unprepared for the 2025 fire season.
Timing of this, in all fairness, probably couldn't be worse. The fact of the matter is, over the last 3 years, the association has conducted what we call the Great Canadian Fire Census, where we asked fire chiefs from the 3,200 fire departments across Canada to provide critical information about the state of their own readiness as a Canadian fire service. Even prior to the conversations around tariffs, the information and the data came back to us as pretty staggering. 60% of all fire departments in Canada have indicated that they've deferred purchasing of equipment and training for at least 2 years. 20% of the fire departments in Canada say that they're using outdated frontline apparatus. Now let's add on this component of tariffs. We could see up to $300,000 added to just one purchase of a fire truck. I tell you, most municipalities can't go back to a council tomorrow morning and ask for, oh, by the way, I need another 300,000. It doesn't work that way. The fact of the matter is that procurement takes time, between 1 and 4 years time from the date signing a piece of paper to purchase a new fire truck through to delivery. We can't budget an additional $300,000 in this case. As we stare down the gun of the wildfire season barrel, this is just the fact that we have to be better prepared, and quite frankly, it's concerning.
We also discussed how creating a national fire administration could help manage these rising costs.
The Canadian Fire Chiefs, we've been on record for several years now talking about the value of a national fire administration. And every time I say it, I regretfully have to say now more than ever, it's needed. And I can say that here, sitting here this morning in Quebec City, that it is needed now more than ever as we change government, as we talk about platforms of what a pending election might look like. This has to be on the agenda. This has to be something that's discussed for Canadians. We are the only country of our size that does not have a position within the federal government to oversee fire-related policy issues. Our closest comparator, the one that we all talk about right now, is the United States. The United States Fire Administration has been in existence since 1976. It employs 150 staff. It runs a training facility. We're not there, nor do we intend on being there anytime soon. It took 50 years for our counterparts to get there. But we need to start somewhere. We need a position within the federal government that allows chiefs to bring in an opinion, chiefs to bring in our data at critical points during conversations. What happens more times than not today is the fire chiefs might get to be able to bring in our opinion, but it's far, far down in the process. Decisions are likely already made or very close to being confirmed is when they ask the fire chiefs to bring our thoughts in. We can't wait that long. We need to be able to be at the table earlier on, and an administration would allow us to do that. In the absence of that, we feel, me, the president of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs, we're filling that void, but we're doing it with very little authority. It's just based on relationships today.
Finally, we touched on what contingency plans exist if tariffs hit without exemptions.
I think the brute reality is that it'll force departments to work with older equipment longer. There is not a lot of alternatives. We have great working relationships with some of our distributors here in Canada that are in the business of fire trucks. The reality is the components, the chassis, the motors, every component of those likely are coming out of the United States. The Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs, we are for Team Canada. We believe in making sure that we do everything we can to support the Canadian economy. We're just really put up against the corner as far as what is available for Canadian fire services to use outside of North America. I've been asked about whether or not we could use products from the United Kingdom, Europe. The fact is today's infrastructure, and I'm talking things like fire hydrants, I'm talking about standpipe systems that are in our buildings, are built for North American standards, not built for what's built in other parts of the world. It's not completely off the radar for options. Everything from our personal protective equipment, our helmets, the bunker gear that we wear, 80 to 90% of that all comes out of the United States. Maybe in those applications, there might be something feasible out of Europe or United Kingdom. It's not something that we are looking at today.